Hey everyone, this is Larry with Today I Feel Like. I've been using the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra for about the last year. I got it right at launch, and I've had a number of people ask me, am I going to pre-order and upgrade to the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra? And the answer is simply no. And there's a few reasons why, so let me jump into it and tell you why I'm not getting the S24 Ultra. All right, here we go. All right, well, first off, the first reason why I'm not upgrading to the S24 Ultra is because, well, the camera systems between the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra are really not that different. In fact, when I saw the keynote address, I was really sort of just bummed out and thought, geez, they really just didn't make an effort with the cameras at all this year, and all of it is really kind of just superficial upgrades. Most of the upgrades this year to the S24 Ultra are all software based. Everybody's about AI, and so everything they're trying to do is all AI based. However, most of those AI based upgrades are going to come to the S23 Ultra and some of the other Galaxy phones in the next coming months. So really, all you have to do is be patient, and you're going to get most of what the S24 has to offer on your older phone. So if you have, say, a Z Flip 5 or an S23 Ultra or a Z Fold 5 or something like that, you're going to get most of those software upgrades coming to your phone in just a few months anyways. So now I'm a photographer and a filmmaker and a content creator, and I want cameras. I want upgrades to cameras, and they really just didn't do that much at all. In fact, let me go ahead, jump onto the Samsung website so we can take a look at the comparison between the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultras with their camera systems. Okay, so here I am on the Samsung website, and I have their comparison page up. So I have the S24 Ultra, the S23 Ultra, and the Z Fold 4, because these are two of the Samsung phones I currently own. I actually own a Z Flip 5 as well, but I don't like the camera system on that. So, all right. First off, we can see that the battery is basically going to be the same. We're going to have 5,000 milliamps for both the S24 and the S23. The Z Fold 4 has less battery life, but it's always been that way. Now, we have wireless power share across the board, so no change there. We're also going to have 12 gigs of RAM. Now, the S23 came with 8 or 12 gigs. I have the 12 gig model there. And as far as storage capacity, we have the same 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. Same here. We have 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. I have the 512 model. I was going to get probably the same model on, for the S24 Ultra if I upgraded. Now, there is a new chip. You can see as they've gone, we have the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, the Snapdragon Gen 2 for Galaxy for the S23 Ultra, and then the Snapdragon Gen 3 for Galaxy for the S24 Ultra. Now, again, as far as RAM, we have 12, and then we have 8 and 12 and 12. So I have 12 because of anything at 512 and up gives you the 12 gig model, versus if you get the 256, you get the 8 gig model. Since I have a 512 model, I have the 12 gigs, so I wasn't going to get any additional RAM even if I upgraded. It comes with an integrated S Pen for both the S23 and the S24 Ultra. The Z Fold 4 it's compatible. I have the S Pen for it. It works fine. So the Z Fold 5 is same thing. It's compatible but not integrated. So now you have 5G. So you can see there it says sub 6 millimeter wave, and same thing here. We're gonna get sub 6 and millimeter wave. On the Z Fold 4, it just says latest technology with power of 5G. It doesn't actually say what bands they are or anything. So not much of an upgrade there. Now here we have the camera systems, and we can see we're going to get 200 megapixels on both the S23 and the S24 Ultra. The wide angle is going to be 12 megapixels. The ultra wide is also going to be 10 megapixels, so we're getting the same there. We're going to have a telephoto of 3x. On the S24, this is where they did change a little bit. You're going to get a 50 megapixel 5x zoom, and that you can then crop in on. So now the S23 Ultra, you're going to have a 10 megapixel 10x zoom. So basically what they're doing here is they're basically banking on the fact that you can crop in enough of this on this 50 megapixel 5x zoom to get the same optical or same image quality as you would with a optical zoom, with a 10x optical zoom at 10 megapixels. So I think what they're doing is they're trying to say that this 5x zoom is going to be much more what most people would want and use and be more flexible. And if you still need to have that long reach, that long telephoto reach, you can then just crop in or do a digital zoom and on that 50 megapixel sensor and get the same, basically the same 10 megapixel resolution as you would with this 10x zoom. I've seen some photo samples. It doesn't look like it's the same quality. It looks like the optical from the S23 Ultra is actually doing better than you get with that sensor crop or just cropping or the digital zoom as they have it. So now on the Z Fold 4, you're just going to get the 3x telephoto and then you get the space zoom, but you're not going to get the 50 megapixel on the telephoto. So or the 10x on the telephoto. Both of them have all of them have wide angle lenses. All of them have scene optimizers. Now, as far as all have dual aperture, you can see the on the rear camera, the 200 megapixels is going to be 1.7 on both the S24 Ultra and the S23. The dual aperture is going to it's going to have a 1.8 on the Z Fold 4. So now on the 12 megapixel here, you can see it's f2.2. And everything basically is the same except for when you get to this 50 megapixel here, the 5x, that's going to be f3.4, whereas the 10 megapixel 10x zoom is going to be f4.9. So, and then the front camera is basically going to be the same. So, yeah. And you're going to have flaw detection on all of it, so you can use that. You can see it's basically going to have the same size screen. So this one is going to be an OLED. Both of them are OLED screens, but there's not much change. That's the thing. When you look at it, there's just not really much here that's changed. So all of them have ultrasonic fingerprint readers. And yeah, it's just not much has really changed. Not enough to upgrade. Now you can see, you can get this. You can get the S24. You can see for about $549.99 after eligible trade. But you have to ask yourself, are you seeing enough upgrades in this comparison list to warrant paying, $550 or $600 after taxes to get the new phone? I'm simply not. I'm just not seeing enough value in the upgrade. And I'll be honest with you, this is the second time that with one of these flagship phones. I generally carry two phones. I carry an S20, usually a S series Samsung phone, and then I also carry usually the iPhone Pro Max, whatever that model is. And this last year, I didn't get the 15 Pro Max because I didn't see much of an upgrade. And I'm not seeing much of an upgrade with the S24 Ultra, so I'm not upgrading. Now, there is one other reason why I decided not to get the the S24 Ultra this year as an upgrade, and that is because I actually want to carry one phone this year instead of two. I have a Apple Watch Ultra, which I think is going to be able to help replace my iPhone in a lot of ways. I'll be able to use Apple Pay when I want to. I'll be able to get phone calls on here when I want to, my messages when I want to, and be able to respond. So I should be able to do just fine with my Android phone, and then have all my personal stuff come through on my Apple Watch. And that phone that I actually want to carry is a foldable phone, and I'll show you which one I'm most interested in. And here we have it. This is the OnePlus Open, and I think this is going to be my daily driver for most of 2024. You can see it's a bit of an expensive phone. They do have some discounts, so after you trade in, you should be able to get a fair amount off. So if you go in right now to where you can trade in, say a Samsung phone, and you can see in S23 Ultra you can get up to $1,000 off right now. So there's some good deals on there. if you go to a Z Fold 4, you can get up to $990 off. So there's only really a $10 difference there. So yeah, I should be able to add this thing at $14.99 and $1,000 off. That's going to get me around $500 for the phone. So I'm going to get a phone that I think is going to be much better suited for me. And if we take a look at the camera system, I think the cameras are better for me as well. So here are some of the camera specs. You can see there we're going to have, it looks like a f1.7 for their main camera. It's 24 millimeter on there. It's gonna have image stabilization and all that good stuff on there. It's gonna have a 40 megapixel sensor on there. It's gonna be a Sony stacked sensor, and that's for the normal lens for the main camera. For the telephoto, we're also gonna be able, it says you can zoom in digitally up to 120x, but the focal length is gonna be the equivalent of about 70 millimeters on there, or 3x. And so you can also use 145 millimeter equivalent at 6x, because you're going to have such a high resolution sensor. You can do that whole sort of crop in because it's going to have 64 megapixels. So even if you crop in or do a digital zoom, you're going to end up with a really high resolution photo in there that you can actually zoom in more. So yeah, I think it's going to work out nicely for me. It's also going to have an ultra wide angle lens that's going to have a 48 megapixel sensor as well. So it looks like on all these, you're going to have two 48 megapixels and a 64 megapixel sensor on there. So you're going to get much more resolution on your photos generally than you would with the S23 or S24 Ultra, or even what I'm getting now with the S23 Ultra. So you have the flash and all that other stuff there. Video, you can shoot up to 4K. You can shoot 4K up to 30 frames a second. If you want to shoot 60, I believe, you're going to have to drop down to 180 frames a second. To be perfectly honest, or it looks like you can shoot 60 at 4K, but if you want to go to, so it looks like you shoot 60 at 4K, but if you want ultra steady, you have to go down to 1080p there. So you have Pro mode on there at 4K, which is nice. You have digital zoom up to 20x. There's time lapses at 4K. There's a lot of different features on there. So, and then there is a front-facing camera, but with a foldable, why would you ever use that unless you're just doing a Zoom call or something? It's not really all that necessary, because you can just use the outer cover as your monitor to see what you're shooting, and use the rear cameras as your good cameras. So, yeah. But you can see here, it is a very, very nice camera setup on there, and I think this is what's going to work best for me. Now, there's some other stuff about this phone that are really nice. You can see here, it's going to have a little bit bigger battery than the Z Fold 4. It's going to have a 4,805 milliamp hour battery instead of 4,400. It's going to come with 512 gigs of storage standard. RAM, it says 4, 8, and 12, but it actually comes, that's for RAM expansion. So you can actually dedicate some of your storage to RAM, but you can have, it comes with 16 gigs of RAM built in. So that's more than the 12 that you're getting on the S24. So, yeah, it's basically more you're getting on all of those Samsung, on the S24, the S23, or the Z Fold 4. So, yeah. The only thing that kind of bothers me is it has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 instead of the 8 Gen 3. It would be great if they had the 8 Gen 3, but I think we'll have to wait for the next version of this phone in order to get the 8 Gen 3. So, but I think this phone is going to do me really, really well. I think the price is going to be right after I make a trade-in, and it's going to be my daily driver moving forward. So, yeah, there's two models. They have this green one here, this Emerald Dusk, and then the black. I like the black because it has sort of like this textured back to it. It's like a vegan leather back, which I kind of like there. So, yeah. Anyways, there you go. Those are the reasons why I'm not actually upgrading to the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra this year. They do have some good trade-in deals. It's not like they don't have decent trade-in deals. And I would say if you have an older phone, if you have, say, an S20 or an S21, jump on it. Go ahead and get the S24 Ultra. I think it's a great phone, and you'll enjoy it. I think it will be a great phone. I haven't tried it, but I think it will be a great phone. I enjoy my S23 Ultra. I think if you have an S23 Ultra, you can probably skip it. If you have one of the foldables, the one like the Z Fold 4, Z Fold 5, you're probably already into the foldables and you probably aren't wanting to go back to a regular slab phone. But if you do, I mean, the S24 is not going to be a bad phone. I just don't think it's much of an upgrade for people who are already on sort of the annual upgrade cycle and have an S23 Ultra. All right, everyone. Well, there you go. That was much longer than I expected, but well, I had a lot to say, I guess. So those are my reasons for not upgrading. If you guys are upgrading, let me know. I'm curious to know what about the S24 Ultra caught your attention and made you want to go ahead and put that money down to get a new one. Or if you're just someone who likes to upgrade every year so you always have the latest and greatest, let me know what it is that made you get that upgrade, because I'm very, very curious. So leave me a comment down in the comment section. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and leave links to, well, I'll leave links to all this stuff because you can still get it. I think there's still time to pre-order it as the time of this video is being made, and you can still get some very nice discounts with trade-ins and other things. So yeah, but I'll leave that down there. I'll also leave links to my Amazon page and my social media contacts so you can reach me elsewhere, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and please subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Instagram. And I am Larry with Today I Feel Like. Thanks for coming back to see me. Come back and see me soon. And until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Peace.